All right. So let's start our day with our lesson number 7, which is all about processing data iteratively. So in this chapter, we are going to learn 4 topics: do loop processing, conditional do loop processing, arrays, and use of arrays. So let's understand what do loops are. Okay. So objective for this topic is we'll explain iterative do loops, and we'll be using do loops to eliminate redundant code and repetitive calculation. So very important point. Use do loops to eliminate redundant code and repetitive calculation. So what does this mean? So let's understand through a scenario. Now you have a scenario here where it's telling an Orion Star employee wants to compare the interest for yearly versus quarterly, compounding on a deposit of 50,000 investment made for 1 year with a rate of interest of 4.5%. How much money does the employee acquire in each situation, that is yearly as well as quarterly? Now you are quite familiar that in a year we have 4 quarters, correct? So you, with the rate of interest of 4.5 on your 50,000 amount of yearly investment, what would be the rate of interest quarterly as well as yearly? So this is the request or requirement from your business. So for that, what you would be doing is, of course, this is the data set. You are telling this is the amount. You're telling this is the rate of interest. And you're telling yearly value is going to be amount into rate. This is fine. But for quarterly, it will be quarterly plus your quarterly plus amount into rate divided by 4. Because you have 4 quarters. So hence, for every 4 quarters, you are going to write this assignment statement, and you get the information. This is your quarterly rate of interest. For yearly, this will be the rate of interest value, and for every quarter you will be getting this rate of interest. Okay, so looking into this, look at the highlighted part. So what they are trying to tell you is, don't you see that this assignment statement you are repeating 4 times as per your quarterly amounts, correct?
Yes.
Right. I hope Shanmuga, Priyanka, Swarupa, you are getting this point, that we are writing the same thing 4 times, right? Priyanka, Swarupa,
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Shanmuga, yeah. So to avoid this repetitive coding, we'll be using do loop. Now this is all fine. We are working for only 1 year. But what if you wanted to calculate the same thing yearly amount for next 20 years, and within years of 20 you want quarters. So every year you have 4 quarters. So like this for 20 years, how many quarters it becomes?
80.
Absolutely. So it's not feasible to write this statement 20 times and this statements 80 times. Correct? I
Yeah.
hope this slide is making some sense.
Yes.
Yes.
So to avoid this repetitive coding, or this is what this was telling, redundant code and repetitive calculations, we are going to make use of do loops. So how does do loop come into picture, or what is its syntax? So this is what it's telling. What if the employee wants to determine annual quarterly compounded interest for the period of 20 years, that is 80 quarters. So this is what, are you going to sit and write this 20 times and 80 times? It's impossible. So your do loops make your tasks more simple. So this is all the same. So this yearly amount which is getting calculated, you put in this do statement. So it's do I equal to 1 to 20. So this I indicates it's an index variable. So you can look into this simultaneous into your syntax. I equal to 1 to 20. So 1 to 20, this statement will be repeating within this loop, and it ends when this endpoint reach. Then another loop where this is new I variable, which will be the value 1 to 80, and this statement will be processed 80 times within this loop into your single data step iteration. So your single data step first iteration, this statement will move or it will process 20 times, and in the same data step, this statement will be processed 80 times. So this is how your do loop works, and every do statement ends with an end statement. All right, make a note. So what is this? So this is an index variable. You give a start value, two, you give your stop value, and this is an optional which is telling by increment. So what is by increment? That means here by default, when I value is 1, okay, it will enter this loop, it will calculate this value, it will come to this end. When end encounters, it will increment your I value default by its next value, which is 2. Okay, so its default increment is by 1. And then it will check whether this 2 that is between 1 to 80, is it within this range? Yes, then it will enter this loop. It will work on the statement, again end. So this is again when it checks it end, it comes to this I. Okay, this next value of your I from 2, it will get incremented to 3. So this is default incrementing by 1. So if you want to increment this by some other values as per your business scenario, that is every 2 years or every 3 years, so that increment you can provide here by 3 or by 2. Okay, so that is what it is all about do loop. So we'll see this again in detail in your upcoming slide also, but this is the example of your processing. So let's understand. So it's telling the value start, stop, and increment. That means this start, stop, and increment which you provide is must be numbers or expressions that yield numbers are established before executing your loop. If omitted, it gets incremented default to 1. That is this. Between this, it increments default to 1 if you do not write by increment. All right. So these are numeric values with start and stop. So details of index variable, this I. So what this index variable is written to your output dataset default as a variable. At the termination of the loop, the value of index variable is 1 incremented beyond your stop value. So what this statement means is, so when I come to this studio, now pay attention. I'm connecting to my library first. All right. So we'll take a very simple example. So let's work on your data if you have, or if you remember, we have a data for donations. Instead of donation, let's work on the same demo. D0, let's work on this. D0, 2. All right. I'm looking into SQL. So sorry.
So Ashwini, in the current code, only after completely finishing the yearly assignment statement,
It
then
will
you
move to quarterly.
okay.
Yes. So see, before moving into it, let's understand yearly. Okay. So this is what it's telling you, your yearly value. So your I was dropped. So what I will do is I'll check this value of I for yearly. We are just working on yearly now. So we are getting single output where I value is beyond your stop value. So if you have observed this, it's telling at the termination of your loop, the value of index variable is one increment beyond your stop value. So that's what you see this. Now, why you see this? It's because when I when it looks into this do loop statement, your I value will take the value of 1. Okay. So it is in PDV during execution phase. So it will enter this loop, it will calculate your yearly value. So as per your sequence of steps, end encounters. So whenever end encounters, your I value will increment to the next value in your PDV. So with end, it goes back into the loop and it checks whether I value currently in PD, which is incremented with 2, is it within this range? Yes, it's within the range. It will enter the loop. It will calculate this statement. Again, it will encounter end. With end, it will increment your I value in PDV to the next value from 2 to 3. So it goes back into the loop and it checks the current value in PDV which got incremented due to end statement, which is to 3. It will check whether that 3 is within this range. Yes, it's within this range. It will come into this statement, calculate this looping statement. Again with end, it will again increment your I value in PDV for your next value. So in the same way, it will move ahead when the I value is 19, it will increment to 20. It checks, is it within the range? Yes, it's within the range. It enters the loop. It executes the statement. Again, now with end, your I value in PDV is currently 20. Okay, understand? So when it's 20, it checks whether it's within the range. Okay, so first when it comes to end, it will by default increment to next value default by 1, which is 21. So when I value, it comes back and checks whether it's within the range. No, 21 is outside the range. So your current I value in the loop is still 21, but it is not entering the loop. So previous value for 20 is coming as an output value here, which is calculated your yearly value, but your I value is default incremented, but it stops your loop because it is outside the range. That's what your slides was telling, that it will stop the loop when it finds that your I value is beyond your stop value. And of course, it gets terminated when it increments your stop value beyond your I value. So now you see it's a cumulative calculation for the year value till the year 20. But what if you want to see that for every year it's giving you the value? So in that case, you can use your explicit output statement so that at every loop it will immediately it immediately writes the output to your output data set. So you're not waiting till end. So end here will still give you the incrementation of I, but immediately calculation with immediate output statement, it will write it to your output data immediately. So now when you execute this statement, so with explicit output statement, the current contents of PDV will be immediately written to your output data set. And this is what you see, that this is for first year, this is your yearly rate of interest. So when you scroll down, see at 20th year, this is the same value which you have seen when you did not write this output statement. Are you getting it? So by default, it was showing you incremented with 21, which was a default incrementation beyond your stop value, but the calculated value at the end was the same value which was for your year of 20. Getting it? What I mean by telling this? Yes.
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 So
Yes.
if I show you the same thing here, okay, and this one, so this is one, so this is prop print one, this is prop print two. All right. So this is your data set compound one. So look at your this value. Now this I copied as it is with output statement, so I'm not using this output here. Let's all right. See this value with output statement and see this without output statement. It's the same. It's calculating for the 20th year. See, but the default nature is your I value in PDV gets incremented default to its one value beyond your stop value. But when it goes back and checks your loop, this is out of the range. So it does not enter the loop to calculate the value, but this value is for your previous I value. Getting it? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So let's understand the same thing through slides. Okay, so before moving, answer this poll. What are the final values of the index variables after the following do statements execute? So here it's telling 1 to 5. So when your loop ends, your I value is incremented default to 1. So here it's telling at the end of the loop, the I value is 6. So what will be the for the next do loops values? Now here it's telling increment by 2, increment here by -2.
2, 4, 6, 8. So final will be 10.
For this do loop,
Yeah.
and how about this?
Minus 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Final is 0.
All right. Got it? Shanmuga,
Yes.
Swarupa, Priyanka.
Yes.
Yes, Ashwini.
Yes. So this is how it works. Okay. So it's also trying to tell us that you can have a do loop for your character variables values also, and the values you provide with codes. So this is character constants. These are numeric constants. This is variables. You can provide variables also. You can provide numeric constant values, and you can provide character constant values, and these are separated by comma. So a do loop is executed once for each item in the list. The list must be comma separated. All right, so you can provide individual item names and let them separate by comma. All right. So this is the flow chart. I'll come to this flow chart once we understand the same through a slides. Okay. So what is this business scenario? Is telling on January 1 on each year, an Orion Star employee invests $5,000 in an account. Determine the value of the account after 3 years based on constant annual interest rate of 4.5% starting in the year of 2008. Now they have given you the start year is 2008 and you want for next 3 years. So you write 2008, 2009, 2010. Your amount is 5,000, rate of interest is 4.5. So it's telling determine the value for 3 years based on constant annual interest rate. So with this, let's check this demo. So see, you are giving your index variable. You can either write I, which is a default syntax, or you can give the variable which you want to increment. So we know we want to increment your year variable. So you write this as an index variable. Here you have a start value as 2008 and end value is 2010. So you are writing your sum statement where you are telling capital plus 5,000. Now you know this sum statement means this is the variable to be created. It will default retain and it will always initialize with 0. So 0 plus this value, it will give the value and it will calculate its rate of interest, right? So now let's see how it gives you the output. So the result is for the year 2011, it's giving you this is the rate of interest or the value. But you know why this is happening? It's because loop has the behavior to always increment your index variable beyond your stop value. But the value which is coming as an output for your value is always for the previous stop value. Correct? So that's what it's coming here. In case you want an output for every year, you can use this explicit output statement beyond your end or before your end statement. So this is what you'll be getting the output. For every year, for the year 2008, 9 and 10, you get the values which is incremented with your rate of interest. Now make a note, this value is along with your rate of interest, that at the end of 2008 your 5000 will be incremented with your interest rate for the yearly value is 5225. Then for the second year it will be 10,000 some value, and for the third year it will be 16,000 and some value. All right, so that's what it was telling you.
Ashwini, uh,
Yes,
earlier one, the yearly and quarterly one, there we didn't give any how the first yearly was calculated.
here it is.
Okay, here, okay. So we don't have to
Okay,
get a separate statement for that, right?
here they have put it like this itself. They have not given yearly plus amount. So that yearly plus amount they have put into parenthesis to calculate its rate, and that is also incrementing with yearly. Compound.
Okay,
So it's compound value.
yeah,
Okay.
yes.
So here itself, if you want it, you can write it as yearly plus amount. So this will be like this. So let's see if it works like this. Okay.
No, I think yearly plus within parenthesis yearly into rate.
So let's probably put the same thing. Let's see whether it's working. See, so it cannot understand what is this, right? So this is always your amount. So let this be like this, correct? But again,
Ashwini,
what is this? You will, SAS will not understand.
No,
Ashwini,
actually
how can it
Yeah,
read
yearly
the
plus. Sorry.
yeah. One sec. Let me finish with Priyanka. Yes, Priyanka, tell me.
Ashwini, how will it actually count yearly plus amount? Because according to this formula, it has not developed any account yet.
Amount is here.
Yeah, but how will it get?
Yearly,
Yeah,
yearly is it's this your sum statement. So it will create this variable
there
yearly.
should be a yearly to do yearly plus amount, right?
Yes,
Bec-
absolutely.
Because if you do amount, yearly is equal to amount into rate, then it will create a yearly.
Absolutely. That's what I just wanted to show you.
Okay.
Okay, so instead of that, it's a cumulative which it will create the things as per our requirement. So this is a sum statement. So this will calculate and it will of course have its rate, because yearly you have 4 quarters, hence you are giving its rate of interest for yearly. Okay, so this you are multiplying with its amount, and whatever the value it will increment for your yearly, hence you are getting it for the yearly value for throughout the year including its quarters. All right, so it's compounded statement. Fine.
Yeah.
All right. So let's understand this through our scenario. Now look at here. So during your compilation phase, your PDV is created. Okay. So during your compilation, your yearly or your year variable, of course, it's a part of your PDV. Hence, it's created in PDV. Capital, it's your sum statement. Hence, it's in the sum statement. And they're showing you just your data step iteration. Okay. So invest during execution, it enters the execution phase. So because of your sum statement, your capital is retained and it initialized with 0. Correct? And because you have or you are looking into your PDV with underscore n underscore, it's a default temporary variable. So it's going to default drop from your PDV to be written to your output data set. Hence, it is flagged with D. So only two variables you'll have, year and capital. Now at initial phase of your execution, your PDV is initialized to missing. Now because year is in assignment statement, it's initialized to missing, but capital is with the sum statement, it's initialized to 0 by default. Correct? Now let's see how your data step works. So when your value is 2008, it will take this value into your PDV. It will check whether 2008 is within the range. Yes, it's within the range which you have given in your statements from PDV. It is within the range. It enters your loop for your capital. It will increment. So current your capital value, it's 0. So 0 plus 5,000 at initial value, it is 5,000. So for the same year, it will increment with your rate of interest. So current value is 5,000, in parenthesis 5,000 into your rate of interest. So it will give you the value as 225. That will get added to 5,225. So this is for year 2008, your total value at the end for the rate of interest for yearly, which is at 4.5%. The value at the end of the year is 5,225. All right. So now look at here. It comes to your next statement, which is end, and check the changes in PDV. Whenever it encounters your end statement, your value in PDV, which is your index variable, gets default incremented by 1. So it's telling you in PDV itself when end is encountered, that it encounters and end, it increments your value to its next incrementation, which is to 2009. So now when it is end, its behavior is it goes back into the loop. It will check for your year value within PDV. Is it within the range? Yes, it's within the range. If it's within the range, it will enter your loop. It will increment your current capital value, which is 5,225 plus 5,000, which is 10,225. It will calculate its rate of interest, which is whatever the value, and it will add it to this 10,225. So this is the value which is at the end of the second year, which is for the year 2009. So what is it trying to tell with underscore and underscore? Looping is happening, but it is the same data step iteration, which is cycle 1 of your data step. Understanding, everyone?
Yes.
So it's the
Yes.
same data step. Your data step is not going into the iteration cycle. It's the loop within your data step which is moving within the loop because of your do loop statement. All right. So again with end, your value in PDV gets incremented default to its next value by 1. So it is now 2010. Now with this end, it will go into loop and check the current PDV value is within the range or is it outside the range. If no, it will enter the loop, calculate the value. Okay. And again with end, okay, it will increment your value to default by 1. It is showing you 2011. So it will go back into the loop and check whether this PDV value of index variable is within the range. Now it is outside the range. So your loop terminates. It comes outside the loop. reads the next statement outside end, which is run, and run indicates end of your step, and it will immediately write to your explicitly write whatever the contents of PDV is to your output dataset. Hence, the output dataset you will get only one row, which is a compound value for the year for 2008, 2009, 2010. It's compound capital for the next 3 years, which is being calculated with its rate of interest. Getting it? So this is where you get the rate of interest value for all 3 years. And this is your compound year value. You know why it's coming this? Because the default behavior of index variable is to increment beyond its top value. But this value is calculated for your previous years. All right. So in case the question here is, how can you generate a separate observation for each year?
It output.
With output.
Yes, you will be using an explicit output statement. Where? At what place?
Before end.
For n.
Absolutely. So that's what you see for 2008, 2009, and 2010. The values are created. And now you'll not see for the year 2011. Why? Because when it is calculating the value for 2008, with this explicit output statement, the current statement is immediately written to output. With end, it will increment to 2009, enters the loop, calculates the value. With output, it will immediately write to your output data set. With end, your index variable, which is year, will increment to 2010, enters the loop, calculates its capital. With explicit output, the current 2010 year value will be immediately written to your output data set. With end, it will increment your index variable, which is for 2011. It checks whether it's within the range. No, it will terminate. Hence, it will not show you the contents of PDV with year as 2011, but it will show you for your previous iteration of your do loop. Fine. Place an explicit output statement inside your loop statement or inside your do loop. So that's it. So it was a simple do loop to be understood. So moving ahead, let's understand this by doing one exercise. So come to your PDV, please. So before moving to the PDV, just a slight hands-on for you. So you can open demonstration D02 and D03 and just look into the code and execute. And I'll let you know which exercise to be done. So meanwhile, just go through or execute this demo D02 and D03 for lesson 7. So once it's finished those demonstration, let me know. Then we can work with this exercise. So you can come to your PDF, page 7-29, level 1, exercise number 2. One sec. Am I doing the same? No. Come here. Sorry. Page 7-17, level 1, exercise number 1. Page 7-17, level 1, exercise number 1. So it's telling you have ready to use this code E01. So you have Orion Star payroll department must project total employee cost, which is wages, retirement benefits, and medical benefits through future years based on assumed increases. So you have a code. Insert a loops containing statement to calculate estimated wages or the values for wages, retirement, and medical. So you can use start and stop to control values of your index variable year. Assume the estimated annual increase shown in the below as per your below calculations. So it's telling wages should incremented yearly with 6%. Retirement is 1.4%, whereas medical is 9.5% of rate of interest. Okay, so this is the table you have to calculate wages, retire, and medical. Okay, so it's telling create another variable called total cost, which is actually sum of all your wages, retire, and medical values. Output one observation for each year. Your report should be like this. So ages for the year, for these are the years, this is the wages, retire, medical, and total cost. So moving into your studio, let's open this ready to use code, which is E01 for chapter 7. So it's an exercise E01. So this code is there. So this is what it's telling you. Now look, understand, they are calculating for next 9 years. So how you are getting the start year? So the start year, I hope you remember, today is your SAS function which extracts your system date. Correct? From that date, you are extracting year. So whatever is your current year plus 1. Okay? And then stop is whatever is your current start year, you get the next increment of 9. So if you want to see these variables, just execute this data step. You will see your start year, stop year. Is there any drop? So what I'll do is I'll simply comment and we'll see the start stop values. So next year for 2022 is 2023, and for that next 9 years is you get 2032. Are you getting it? Why you are getting this? Because you have given your this information. All right, understood?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so let's insert your do loop. So go ahead
Ashwini,
and write your do loop. Yes,
in this code, why have we put another parenthesis after today?
it's because you are extracting your only from today. So today will give you the date, right? Whatever the date
Yeah.
is. Maybe the date is, suppose for me it's 6th April. So 6th April 2022. So it will appear that date like this. So from that you have to extract the year, right? So here
Yes.
is a function which works on this.
Today. Yeah.
That's why.
Oh,
Understood?
yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and do this exercise for calculating loops as per this. Read every statement and do this exercise.
Ashwini, do we need to give any formatting for wages, retire, and medical? Because
Look at what they have asked in your output. They have applied any format, so they have given commas. So accordingly, you can apply format.
done, Ashwini.
Okay.
Ashwini, values are correct, but I'm not getting the comma.
Check the width. Did you give proper format? It's just comma, right?
Yeah.
So include the comma with maximum width. Maybe it's 18 dot.
With 18 dot, it has come. Yeah. Sorry. Actually, in results, it is coming with 14 dot also. I'm seeing the output data.
All right, so this is what you see now, the result with comma. This is because I've used format, and our start and stop values is as per our current dates. Okay, so you get this your start value, stop value. Correct?
With 14.2 format also it was coming, right?
Give the maximum weight.
Okay, okay.
Yes, Shanmuga, Swarupa, Priyanka.
Yeah, I'm done.
Done, Ashwini.
Done? Okay.
Yes.
Actually, I'm
Let's
not
move
getting the
ahead.
result.
You're not getting the result. Share your screen with me.
Can I check your?
Okay, you can just look into my screen.
I think it's a. Oh, I'm not looking at those. Stop sharing. Start to stop pages. I know what is the difference. So you have done wages is equal to wages into 1.06, right? Which is okay, right way to do. But I just tried the same way they said in the do loop, wages plus wages into 1.06. Should it has given answer with that way also?
See, when you
Like
write sum, when you write sum
Mhm.
works with incrementing
Mhm.
as per within your previous values. Okay, it keeps on incrementing.
Yeah,
So here we don't want incrementing because it's doing for every year separately.
but it will do separately on the last year wages, right? Because that will be increased already by that much percentage.
Right.
So if we will not increase it to the last year, like 2024, then it will still give us the same answer, incrementing it to the 2023 wages.
You have initial values provided. So this only into your rate of interest. That's it for every year. The values will keep on calculating as per this.
New
No need
wages.
of writing first statement. Yes, no need of writing sum statement.
So if I'll just do
I
this,
think using some statement, you are creating a new variable. Here, no need of creating any new variable as such.
That's
Is
what
it?
I'm telling you. Already have initial values. This is where you have provided. Hence, you're writing assignment statement. So when you write sum, it's the variable created with incrementing. If it's not already there, it will keep on incrementing with the values.
doesn't make sense, but it's still not giving me the answer.
Share your screen, please.
You can't see my screen? Oh,
Now it's fine. Okay, now I can see it. Come to your code. Please select it. Okay, give me the control. Everything is looking green, Priyanka. Why? Why everything is looking green? It's because it
yeah.
won't calculate because this is into comment because everything is looking in green.
Yeah.
It's because your comment here is wrong. It should be first
Right.
star and then your
Yeah, yeah, I know.
correct this.
Think about that.
Now execute.
Wages is still.
It was still green. Wages has not come. It's still green. I can see that.
Go to your code.
And the start. Let me just delete that line.
Why you're removing it? There is some issue with your comment. Let it be as it is. Give Control Z. Correct here also with your first star and backslash. First slash and then your star. No need of giving brackets in your assignment statement. Come to your code. No need of giving brackets to your assignment statement. Yeah. Now execute. Yes. See, start value is the same. Stop value is for 2032. Understood your stop values. Come to end. See your start value here is just don't move your cursor. One sec. One sec. My remote is still there. Okay. So see your start value 2032 because we have incremented for next year from your current date, which is today plus 1. Correct? So it's 32. Why you're getting? Okay. Stop value. See here 23. Correct? So it's just start value for 2022 plus 1, which is 23. Stop value for the same is the your last year, which is plus 9, which is 2032. Okay. So why is stop value showing constant?
Because they both are before the do loop. So they will stay constant because they're not getting changed in the loop.
It should keep on incrementing, right?
Yeah. So did you guys put the do loop before the stop date or after the stop? It should not.
That's
be
all
like-
fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
Start to stop. Yeah, fine.
It's just a
All
defined
right.
date.
Check your variable. That should be incrementing.
Yeah, that's right.
Check your variable in your output.
Yeah, the year one will.
Yeah,
increase.
that is incrementing. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So then this was your do loops. Thank you. If anyone requires a break? Do you need a 5 minutes break?
Sure.
Yeah, so we can resume after 5 minutes.
Okay. Yes. This meeting is being.
Okay, so let's move ahead. Now you got introduced with do loop. Now let's understand what are conditional do loops. Okay. So we'll use conditional do loops and we'll use nested do loops. Now understand the scenario. It's the data for Orion.growth. Okay. If you remember this table carefully, this was the table which you have used to calculate the number of employees at the end of 2 years for your department, administration or engineering or IS and so on. Correct? Do you remember this?
Yes.
Yeah. So recall the example that forecasts the growth of several departments at Aura and Star. Modify your forecasting application to use a do loop to eliminate redundant code. So the same thing which you had seen earlier like this. So it was your rate of increase which they have provided with the current rate of interest of employees, right? So this was earlier we were doing it. So you got introduced this in your very first second lesson with explicit output statement. So for every year you was getting this rate of increase of the total number of employees. At the end of 2 years, you was getting this many employees. Correct? So what if you wanted at the end of 10 years? So is it feasible for you write these statements 10 times? Are you getting it?
Do here 1 to 10?
That's it. So that's what your loop is making your coding more simple. So let's write do year equal to 1 to 10. Correct? Rest all is not required. Correct? Let's check. So still giving you 1 to 2. Why?
Explicit output.
Absolutely correct. But it's there. I have not given end. Are you getting it? It was giving me the result of my previous forecast data set.
Yeah,
Now
without
you
it,
see.
how is it giving?
Now you see for every department 10 years you get the total number of employees with this rate of increase. So 1 year, 2 year, 3 year for 10. For engineering same thing goes for 10 years. So earlier your input data whatever the number of observations, now for 6 departments for every 10 years you get 60 rows for your new data set. Got it?
Ashwini, earlier we forgot to give n, right? Even then we got the result. Can you
No,
just...
we did not get the result. It was showing you for 2 years,
Okay.
which was for your, it's the same name of your dataset forecast, which was this. So it was
Understood.
giving you the same result.
Okay.
Okay, fine. So this
Yes.
was
Ashwini,
with your loop. Yeah,
usually if we do not end any like do loop or any of these things with end, it gives an error. It was not giving an error this time when you did not put end.
it might have given us the warning, but we did not check the log.
Okay.
Or it might have given some special note. It's giving you error now. So see,
It's increasing the administration
see,
maybe. There is one unclosed loop.
so what does this mean? That your do statement is not ending with end statement, right? Because I had commented this out.
And why was it giving for 2 years? I thought it will give for the year 1 and for
It
year
was
2.
for the previous, the name of your data set was the same. So your previous data set was already with the same name in the same library. So it gave you the same output of your same data set.
But we did not run the upper one, right?
Earlier I did run, right?
Okay.
When I
Okay.
wanted to show you this.
Got it.
Then I copied this and I pasted here just to
Got
show you for the year. Okay?
it.
All right. Okay. So now the question is, what if you want to forecast this for over next 6 years? So you write loops, correct? So we did for 10 years. Here they are doing it for 6 years. So this was simple where you are avoiding repetitive coding, correct? But now the scenario here is, okay, so this was your output, all fine. The question here is now, what stop value would you use in do loop to determine the number of years that it would take for engineering department to exit 75 people? Think on it and tell me.
Total employees.
If total employee.
like till it exceeds, till it reaches
Less than or equal to.
How will write in this do loop?
more than or equal to 75 total employees of the engineering.
You can do if
It's
and
telling
na?
when department is engineering.
Yeah, if department is engineering and total employee is more than 75,
Less than.
then stop. No, if else.
Stop to
Okay,
exceed.
let's work on this.
Else.
Fine. So let's reduce this to 6 years. Fine. Okay. Now where should I write the condition statement?
After
And how
total
I
employee.
ask after total employee. Okay. So what I should write here?
If,
If
but you have not given the department in that, so you will have to state the department before, I think.
department is the variable which is there in your input data set. It's an
Yeah,
existing
then fine.
variable.
If department is equal to engineering,
Is department is equal to engineering. Okay.
and
And
total employee
total employee
less than 75,
less than, okay, less than equal to or only less than?
less than equal to 75.
Semicolon.
Yeah.
Before
No, then will come. Then
then
I'm making it more complicated, I think. Then do.
then do. Okay.
Or we can just do if else. I'm always confused which one should you just if
It's
this
okay,
this.
no problem. Then
Okay.
do. Okay.
Else.
Then else. Are you sure?
No. If you're doing then do, then it will not be else, right?
No, tell me one thing. On this two criteria, what is the next statement you want with then?
I want the series to run.
Let's work on this only. Okay, let's see.
Then no, this will be error because you still need to finish the if statement.
It's not given.
That's administration, but it will not work because it is not telling it to end. I want to say else end.
But what about then? Are you understanding what is this condition? You are telling if this is the condition, then what? Then output?
Then output.
End is there.
No, that end is for the do loop. So it will do its own complete else.
But then you have to give then do.
Other output. Yeah, then do.
Output end.
Output. Else. No, else.
No, for this do you have to give end, right? Then
Yeah.
only you have to write else do. Else do what else?
Else do. Now you have to give it output only. But you have to stop the loop. So else end. Else output end.
You already have end.
Output. Anybody else wants to chip in the idea?
Yes,
Else.
someone can please contribute in this.
Else do output. But what difference would it like? Go to the loop and give the line.
Yes, Shanmuga, Swarupa, I'm waiting from your end the contribution. Nilima. So Priyanka has tried. How about you all three?
So we have to stop the do loop when the condition of that is met.
Hmm. So we just like, I know in some other places where, if I am muted, where you can just go back to a line, like otherwise go to line 17 or end 24. So I'm thinking in a different term, I think,
No
but I
problem.
need to see
You
how
can use
to.
your own logics, but the output should be there.
Yeah.
Yes, Swarupa, Shanmuga, are you people there?
Yes,
Any
Ashwini.
brainstorming from your end?
I'm thinking about it.
Okay. Swarupa,
Yeah, we have to give if statement before do. I thought like that.
okay. So before do, let's check. But is this condition correct? What you are trying to give?
No, there are two do's. Mm,
Actually, Ashwini, try to
Hmm.
take this if before, like after do, before
It's
total.
not a conditional. You're telling it's subsetting if maybe. She's telling if department is engineering, then do this with
Yeah,
your total employees, whatever.
but it is in the do, it should be in the do loop, then only it will increase the employees, right? So it has to be after do, but not before output. Like I was saying, it should be after. I don't know.
Why we have to use all this? Just write this. Okay, so this is subsetting with your engineering, but what about total number of employees?
If department is equal to engineering. Can I just say total employees more than 75? Stop.
Yes, so that's what it's telling. So engineering is coming. But this is for the year 2006. It's still it's like it's default values, okay?
Mhm.
All right. So this is what we are going to come across, which is called as conditional do loops. So you have to use, it's telling unknown. You cannot, you don't know. We were trying all this if conditional if, right? So use conditional iterative processing to stop a loop when a condition is met. And for this, you'll get introduced to conditional looping called as do while or do until. So what is that? Let's get introduced. So we'll understand this through a scenario. So it's telling determine the number of years that it would take for an account to exit 1000, how much? It's 1 lakh if 5000 is invested annually at the rate of 4.5%. So what it's telling, how many years it will take if you are depositing 5000 for yearly basis with rate of interest 4.5. How many years it will take to reach the amount of 1 lakh? You do not know, but you want to find out how many years it will take to sum of your values with the rate of interest 4.5 on 5000 deposit, which is to be at the end at 1 lakh. So it's a condition. You do not know how many years. Hence, you come across conditional looping, and this is where you can write conditional loop like do until, and in parenthesis, you give the condition capital is greater than 1 lakh. So you increment your year every time, some statement by one. You increment your capital with your initial value, which is 5,000, and then you calculate its rate of interest, capital plus capital into 0.45, end. So it's telling at the year of 52, you get the amount which is greater than 1 lakh at this value. So there are two do whiles or do conditions, which is do until expression, or you can use do while expression. So what does do until do and what does do while do? So what is this do until? So this do until statement executes statements in a do loop repetitively until a condition is true. That means it will enter the loop and it will check the condition at the bottom of the loop. That's why it's showing like this. So the value of expression is evaluated at the bottom of loop. The statement in the loop are executed at least once. That means when it's moving into your processing from your ascending order, this statement, it will enter, it will increment your value, it will increment your capital, it will calculate its rate of interest. With end, it will check your capital value. Is it greater than 1 lakh? No. Then again, it will go back into your loop, keep on incrementing this value. At end, it will check this capital currently, which is calculated. It is more than 1 lakh? No. It will keep on looping. At the end, when it finds that it is more than 1 lakh, it will stop this loop and come outside. So it found that the year at 52, it's exiting this 1 lakh amount. Understood? So at the bottom of the loop with until, it will always check this condition. Fine. So it has a chance that every statement is getting executed at least once. Fine. So how does this do while work? So do while is exactly opposite to do until. Only the condition which you will be writing is in opposite. Do while your capital is less than 1 lakh. Why? Because how do while works? Do while statement executes statements in a loop repetitively while a condition is true. So the value of expression is evaluated at the top of the loop. So if you write that this condition is while your capital is less than 1 lakh, yes, it's true. Enter the loop, calculate the value with end. Okay. Of course, it ends the loop, goes back into the loop. Is the current capital less than 1 lakh? Yes. If it's true, enter into your loop. Okay, so like this, your while expression works. The value of expression is evaluated at top of the loop. The statement in the loop never execute if expression is initially false. So at whatever the year it finds the capital is now not less than 1 lakh, then it will not enter the loop. So this is exactly opposite to you will write this condition for do while. Okay, so that's how do while works. So how can you generate the same result with do while statement? I've already explained.
Capital, while capital is less. But then
Absolutely.
less than or either it should be less than or equal to, or here it should be greater than or equal to, right?
Any which ways you write greater than or less than, equal to, whatever.
If it is greater than
See,
here.
got
Okay.
it?
Okay.
All right. So it was with your. So you write here do while your capital is one sec. I'll use this. Invest is with while. Okay. This report is with while. I'll copy the same thing and we'll check it for until. Until your capital is greater than. All right. So first report will come for while and second will be for until. Fine. So let's execute. So this is for until, this is for while. Check the values. Is it same?
Yes.
Swarupa, Shanmuga, Priyanka.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So change this to until statement to a while statement and modify condition that we have done. So it's telling now your do while with an iterative do stop. So it's telling here you can give both your requirements that determine the value of the account again, stop the loop if the year is 30, is reached or more than 2,50,000 is accumulated. So if any of the condition is true, so either you give start and stop value for the years or you can combine it with your condition. So if any of the loop, any one which comes first or is true, it will stop the loop. Okay. So you can have your iterative do loop and your condition together written. So among any of this is true, it will stop. So it's stopping where the capital is exiting more than 250,000 value. At the year 28, it's reaching this capital, which is greater than 250,000 value. Are you getting at what the slide is telling?
Either 30 years is reached, either of the conditions, whatever it is reached first, then it
It
is
will
stopped.
stop your loop. Absolutely. So it's exiting while your capital is greater than 250,000. So it stopped the loop, even if it is not reaching 30 year, because this is true.
Yeah.
Getting it?
Yes.
Priyanka, Swarupa, Shanmuga.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Just open this demo D07 and work out on this and work on your activity D0, A02 also, A03 I suppose, this activity A02 and demo D07.
The same thing we can give until capital is more than 250,000, right?
Yes, we can try it out this also, demo. So you can try it out, open this demo as well as that activity also. See, it's the same. See, yours they've given capital C and here there is do while. All right. So it's already done in this demo.
Is the value same? Okay.
So first is for until, last is for while. So check the result. Value is the same. For until it is 2007. For while it is 2008. Sorry, a year is 28. Sorry. Why it's coming like this? Any idea?
Either
Understand
of
the
the
condition,
condition.
the do loop,
It
do
should be
condition.
either of the conditions, right?
Yeah, because until checks the condition at the bottom of the loop. So it stops your loop at the bottom. Whereas while it checks the condition at the top of the loop where your year is already incremented. Getting it? Year is already incremented with while. So when end encounters, your year is incremented.
Understood.
So now it's 2008. But when it's taking this condition, is it less than or greater than whatever you have given the condition? So this condition is true, hence it stopped. But ideally, it ends or your calculation of your capital is year 2007. Getting it? Whereas
Understood.
for until, it is checking this condition at the bottom of the loop. Hence, for the year 2007, it's giving you this value is exiting. Whereas here at the year 2008, but it is actually for the previous year because it checks the condition at the top of the loop, but with end, your year is already getting incremented. Getting it now?
Yes.
Priyanka, Shanmuga, Swarupa.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
I
sir.
didn't try it. Do you want us to try that?
Yes, open this demonstration D07 and go ahead and work on this demo. So moving ahead. So this is what it's doing. See now, determine the value of account again, but this time your do loop statement is written in an exactly opposite way. So it's telling, look at the highlighted part. So what it's telling here, you're also in output. It's the year 2007. Earlier with while it was 2008, but the capital was exiting your 250,000 at the year 2008, whereas until it's stopping the loop at the year 2007 for the same amount. So it's telling in do until loop, the condition is checked before the index variable is incremented. That's what I was telling. With while, it checks the condition at the top of the loop, but in your previous loop, your index variable is already incremented to the next value. That's why you are getting with while the year is 2008, but the capital is exiting 2 lakh or what, $264,000. Correct? Same goes with year with this until. All right. Now understand the scenario. It's telling create one observation per year for 5 years and show the earnings if you invest 5,000 per year with 4.5% annual interest compounded quarterly. Create an observation per year where you have 5 years and within 5 years it's quarterly amount. So you will be writing two loops within a loop for yearly and quarterly. So this is what the statement says. See, you can write this is called as nested do loop. So first do for 1 year equal to 1 to 5. Within it, it will accumulate or it will increment your capital. Within this year, 4 quarters. This end is for this loop. Immediately write the output. This end is for this loop. Run is an by default end of your data step and output for your current observation. So this is called as nested do loop. So if you check this, the question is, okay, so before moving into it, let's work into this code. So I'm executing it and I see the value for every 1 year. This is my 4 quarters values for 5 years. Okay. So the poll here is, how
I
can
think
you generate one observation for each quarterly amount? The amount which I'm getting is yearly now in this output. I want for quarterly. So how do I do this, do the changes in my code?
that output goes within the quarterly do loop.
Okay, so let's put
Only
it
for quarterly.
here. And let's check as per your observation.
So if we want for both, then we can give one more output after end also, right? Within the yearly output.
But it's already giving you yearly, right? For every 1 year, you get for its first quarter. For every 1 year, you get its second quarter. For every 1 year, third. For every 1 year, fourth. So it's by default you're getting, right? So I may not drop this quarter, which is your incrementing variable, what is I index or whatever your quarter it is within this. So let's check. See, within 1 year, 4 quarters. For second year, 4 quarters. Correct?
Yeah, for each quarter we are getting.
Yeah, for every quarter in the same year. That's what the question was. How can you generate one observation for each quarterly amount? Shanmuga, can I have inputs or a reply from your end? I'm not finding you today speaking.
Ashwini, I have throat infection.
Okay, no problem. Sorry. But I hope you are understanding the concept here. If you cannot speak, you can always use the chat box to write down. Swarupa, is the slide okay with you? Priyanka?
Yes, Sakshi.
Yes.
All right. So this is what you implement your output statement before your end of your quarter. So move your output statement to the inner loop and do not drop quarter. So you'll get this values. So this was nested do loop. Now there's another serious scenario for your nested do loop. Okay. So it's telling compare the final results of investing 5,000 year per yearly for 5 years in three different banks that compound quarterly interests. For each bank, it is at separate rate of interest. So this is coming from a input data set banks. You have to calculate for every bank what will be the with a given rate of interest the amount for every 5 years and for every quarter. Okay. So this is what the statements you'll be writing. Data set from your input data, initialize your capital to 0. Do yearly is 1 to 5, increment your capital. For quarterly, divided by 4. This end is for this quarter, this end is for yearly. And when end comes of your data step that is run, so that was for your data step iteration cycle, because when it enters the first row of the first bank, so for that bank, it will enter this loop. So hence your data step itself for three banks, it will process your data step three times. Within three banks, you have 5 years and 4 quarters. Okay. So this is called as nested loops with a set statement. Now your data step will iterate three times. And for every iteration, it will have 5 years loop and 4 years quarter or 4 quarters. So 5 4s are 20. So your loops will be processing 20 within a single iteration of data step for the first bank. Then with your second bank, it will be your data step second iteration, again the looping. So that's what it's telling here. See the first bank, first data iteration, your bank value is Carolina Bank and Trust. This is its rate of interest. Okay. Now with end, it will calculate the value. With run, it will stop your data iteration for your first cycle. It enters your second iteration cycle, hence its underscore n underscore is 2. So when your second row is entered in PDV, this is your second bank. With its calculation, it will process this. Same when it encounters run, your data step is iterated. It goes to the third iteration cycle. Depending on how many rows you have in input data set, that many data step it will process. Hence underscore n underscore value is 3. And it will process this and you will get the output. So for every bank, you will get its individual rate of interest values. All right. So this is all about nested loops. Okay. Any questions on this?
No.
So you can open this demo if you want.
Why is the
D09.
capital reinitialized to 0? Is it because each iteration cycle we are starting fresh?
Absolutely. For each bank, the capital will has to be initialized to 0 at every data step iteration. Getting it? Because you are reading from input data set.
Oh.
That's why. Done. Open this demo D09 and work on it.
Yes, Ashwin.
Okay,
Done.
good. Priyanka, Shanmuga.
Done.
So let's work with one of the exercise and then we'll stop. So it's your conditional loop exercise with page 7-29, level 1. Performing computation with conditional do loops. So it's telling Orion style payroll department must project total employees cost. The same thing, okay, which we have done earlier. So it's telling corporate income for last year was so much value. Income is projected to increase by 1% per year. Okay, so you have this code available, E02. Print your income and total cost and verify that total cost exits income after 26 observations. So it's telling the result above were generated on so many years. Fine. So that means at the end you should have 26 depending on whatever your current yearly amount is incrementing. Go ahead with this. Read it carefully and start typing. This is your previous topic or previous code. You just entered your do until with wages and medical is all the rate of interest. And of course, total cost and income is increasing. And after your output, you are incrementing your year. Okay, so this is going to be your data step. And your result you see is for from the current year increment by 1, which is for the year 2023. This is the value. Till your year 2048, you have 26 rows. Because your total is exiting greater than income at the year 2043 or 48, which is the 26th observation. See this? Okay, so this should be your do loop. So this is conditional looping. Post this, we'll be starting with arrays in our next class. All right, so for today we'll stop our day. So just go through the slides on your PDF, go through all demonstrations, work with the exercises. In case any doubts, we'll discuss in our next class. All right, for today we'll stop. Okay, so thanks for attending the class. See you all on our next class. Take care. Bye.
Ashwini, we will be doing the class tomorrow, right? For
Yes,
the
we
makeup
do
class.
have class tomorrow. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone. Have a good day, Ashwini.
Thank you, Ashwini.
Yes.